I know this isn't the usual upload to this channel, but recently I've been having the urge to play Terraria. More specifically, Calamity Mod, which I'm pretty sure is the biggest content mod this game has. In fact, Calamity is so massive, the player base for this mod might as well be its own separate game. And I have a ton of experience with Calamity because I used to play it religiously many years ago. But I saw recently that there's a gigantic update and there are so many things added to this game that I have not seen yet. Like, what the hell is an exomech? And this Calamity Mod playthrough was genuinely the most insane and most entertaining run I think I've ever had. 3 mil! I just got 3 mil a second! And after this playthrough, I genuinely think that I might be the best Terraria player of all time. So without stalling anymore, let's start the playthrough on hour 1. I activated Revengeance mode, which is, by the way, the only way to play Calamity, and I had to think about what class I wanted to run. To figure out what class I'm gonna go for. Now, I haven't played Calamity in a minute, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I had to make the decision now because it basically impacts entirely how I approach the game. So I quickly hopped on the class setup wiki page of Calamity to see what my options were, and I quickly made my decision. You know what? I'm gonna go melee, and my only reason I'm going melee is because I have this really cool mod that has like cool animations. But anyways, I started off this run like any other Terraria playthrough. Cut down the trees, flattened the ground, and made my first tiny noob home. This like sword animation, the mod makes me feel like I have so much aura. I also added a little basement, and that's where I'm gonna put all of my magic storage stuff. And oh yeah, I'm also running a ton of mods during this run, mainly magic storage, Calamity Mod, Alchemy NPC for potions, and cooler item visual effect, which makes sword hits look really cool. I also have a ton of other random mods, and if you're curious, I put them in the description of this video. Honestly, I've played Terraria for so long now that it's always a weird feeling being so weak at the start of every playthrough. Now, I'm not much of a builder. Usually most of my builds suck actually, but I decided I wanted to try to put some actual effort this time around, and well, for some reason I'm just incapable of building a roof. I realized that I didn't build it symmetrically and it just looked so wrong. I was like, no wonder this looks so bad, dude, because it's how did I mess up like this? Am I stupid? Looks a lot better. Wait, no, it still looks wobbly. What? Why does it look wobbly? Yeah, you can tell I don't have much experience building, but eventually I had something that looked okay, and I found your mom outside the house as well. A pig? Sorry, excuse that last joke. I was debating whether I should leave it in the script or not, but screw it! It's a free country, baby! Just kidding, nothing's free in America, everything's expensive, but damn, with early game tools, it sure takes a while to kill this pig. I mean, your mom. Finally, bro! And I also found out that the corruption is literally right outside my house as well, so that's great. The corruption is right here? Hopefully that won't cause problems. But I just started exploring, looking to see if there were any caves, and I saw this crazy beast just swimming up on top of the sand. Brother, what is that? Why is it climbing up a tree? What? There was a sand temple, and inside I was hoping I would get a sandstorm in a bottle because it's way better than a cloud in a bottle, and I sure hit the jackpot. The next step to do here is try to get my health up, get my accessories up, and get some nice platinum armor. Time to go mining. Oh, and by the way, I know this is quite literally the worst placement I could put my webcam. I promise I'll fix it later once I realize that I'm blocking my inventory. Also, for one of my starter bags, I got this thing called a half an insta elevator, which is exactly what it sounds. And damn, it's kind of convenient actually. I mean, honestly, I'll take it. And going down the hole, I spotted a glowing mushroom cave, which is very lucky. Oh, that's lucky. I remember I've had playthroughs where I barely found them. And so I just kept on mining, grabbing chests, materials, and importantly, I got some Hermes boots, which is a must before I fight any boss, so I'm glad I got it out of the way. And also began crafting some platinum armor. It wasn't enough, but I figured I'd spice up my home with some decoration, adding some different walls and glass windows, so it looks less like a prison cell now. I needed more platinum, so I went back mining, and it was definitely a struggle since I had 0 armor and I had to resort to fighting enemies like this. And when I reached the jungle, I found my first underground lab, which was cool, I guess. Eventually, I had all the platinum I needed and I crafted up the full set. I also started setting up my own town, and by that, I of course mean a prison, because who has time to build an extravagant looking house? I mean, let's be for real here. The only thing I was missing was maxing out my health meter. So I got a gravitation potion and went up to the Sky Island to find 1 ruby so I could craft the Slime King spawner and get some life crystals. And in the Sky Islands, I got 2 things, a Star Fury and fledgling wings. Wait, huh? What do you mean a field of presence watching me? What do you mean you feel an evil presence watching you? I'm not ready. Hey, at least I got an enchanted sword, so I had 2 pretty good options to fight the Eye of Cthulhu. So it is just the Eye of Cthulhu though, so it was pretty easy, and I quickly racked up rage and adrenaline. Adrenaline? Oh, what a waste. How am I missing every shot, dude? Oops, sorry. I mean, I miss every shot with both Adrenaline and Rage. I know, I'm a very good Terraria player. No!
Game over.
Yes! How did I win that? With the defeat of this boss, I got 2 important items. The Alchemist Charm Tier 1, which gives me a 10% discount on potions and 10% longer potions, and the Shield of Cthulhu. I finished up exploring the Sky Island. There was also this extremely weird Crimson Sky Island, which I've never seen before, and I was definitely a little curious what the hell this was. Acid Rain started, so I figured I might as well do that. Although there really isn't anything I need from this event, or just kidding, the acid rain event ended right when I was about to start farming it. I guess no acid rain for me today. Oh, and there you go. I fixed the webcam for you guys. Much better. All right, I gotta find some ruby. But now the only thing left to do was to find some ruby at the underground to craft some Slime King spawner. And when I say that it took forever to find 1 ruby, I would be underestimating it. Ruby! Why did it take so long to find one? And so I crafted the spawner and fought King Slime. And honestly, this fight was so easy. I killed it in like 2 seconds, but I didn't really get anything useful for this boss fight. That was very easy. One thing that would be useful though is building more prison cells, since after killing the Eye of Cthulhu, a bunch of new NPCs were unlocked. Namely this one that sells me potions. And now it was time to kill Desert Scourge, so I quickly built up a cute arena in the desert biome and started fighting the boss. I remember when this boss was first added in Calamity and it looked so different back then, but oops, I'm yapping a little too much. There's nothing to note for this boss. This boss is so incredibly easy to dodge that you literally just dash whenever he starts dashing at you. Now this boss is a little important because now I can get Victicide armor and Sahara slicers, which word around the block says it's kinda goated. So I'm definitely excited about that. I crafted a trading dummy, but honestly without a DPS meter, it's really hard to tell which weapons did more damage, and I desperately wanted. But there was nothing I could do for now, so I decided on this loadout. Starfury is my main weapon, Sahara slicers and an enchanted sword. And it was time to fight the next boss, Crabulon. And I talked to Sky to buy some potions, and I call her Sky because I swear she looks identical to Sky from Valorant. Before I fought Crabulon though, I broke an orb so I could get a meteorite spawn, and most importantly get a goblin army so I can start to reforge my gear. Afterwards, I went to my nearby glowing mushroom biome and built a quick arena. And by arena, I mean just 1 platform and spawned them in. I probably should have built more than just a platform though, because I realized that I didn't build enough. Oh, I didn't, the water, I didn't think about it. This fight isn't too difficult though, and I locked in and smashed it. And once I got adrenaline, it was basically over, and oh, just kidding. I literally only hit 1 shot with adrenaline. What a waste. What a waste.
Game.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, the combo of the Sahara slicers, so good with the Star Fury. It's kind of goated, actually. There was only one thing I ever wanted from Crabulon, and that is this plasma root, which gives me an extra second of rage mode. And I realized I was stupid because I completely forgot to craft Victicide armor. My ADHD was too focused on the Sahara slicers, which is kind of funny. So I had to go back and fight the Desert Scourge one more time, and finally I had my first armor set. And it did provide me a solid damage boost, alongside some other positives as well. Pushing down the boss checklist, I went ahead and fought the giant clam in the underground water biome. I know I didn't need to fight this boss, but I had to get it out of the boss checklist, okay? My ADC can't handle it not being checked. I was able to craft the Seashine sword though, which was okay. Although by this point, I was starting to wonder, when the hell is that goblin army gonna come? I've been waiting all this time, and I was dying to reforge my gear. I figured I just got a little unlucky and started farming for more upgrades, namely looking to get the Pharaoh Claws, and after getting some spores in the jungle, I crafted it and quickly equipped it. The Pharaoh Claws are a must-have if you're melee, because these early game melee weapons swing slower than my internet speed when I'm playing Valorant, so it's important to have that extra melee swing speed. And next up was to just reach the next stage of progression, and that is to fight the Eater of Worlds. Although I really wanted to get a goblin army, I mean, how have I seriously not have one up to this point yet? So I decided to take matters into my own hands and try to farm some goblin scouts. I ended up just wasting my time though, because not a single one spawned and I just gave up. But hey, at least I found your mom again in the forest. My plan was simple: break the corruption orb, climb up to the arena, and built upstairs. And it was a fairly easy fight, since to be honest, I'm a little over prepared, and all I had to do was just spam my Star Fury, and after a long and painful fight, he was dead. Every time you kill a boss in this game, it drops a golden relic. So I decided I'm gonna start collecting them and start building a wall of relics right outside my house. So stay tuned to the end to see this expand. It's kind of cool. Anyways though, this boss dropped the most important early game accessory one Calamity player could have, and that is the worm scarf. Everyone knows it's goated, so I replaced the random accessory I had with it, and I was happy. And with the defeat of Eater of Worlds, I was now able to craft a nightmare pick, which means I can now mine Hellstone, which is great because it adds a massive boost in melee damage. And if there's one thing you're gonna know about me in this video, is that I'm hungry for the most damage I could possibly do. I needed more Demonite though to craft some upgrades for my magic storage, so I farmed the Eye of Cthulhu for some easy easy coin and demonite. However, while farming it, I noticed a meteorite fall from the sky, which is honestly really cool. But yeah, I crafted up all the upgrades and now I have a ton of space on my magic storage. The next step is clear. Get Hellstone. And with this armor, it'll prepare me to fight even more bosses. So I grabbed some obsidian skin potions and started mining down to hell. And made sure to pick up some obsidian as well and pick up a hell forge. Never forget to pick up a hell forge, okay? Every Terraria player makes this mistake and it always makes me want to cry inside. I did actually get a blade crest oath sword while fighting a demon as well, which was really lucky considering it's a 6% drop, which is amazing because holy cow, this sword rocks. I mean, it literally homes and it goes through walls. It's so peak. I figured 463 hellstone was enough and crafted molten armor, which gave me a big melee damage boost. I also crafted a volcano for a solid true melee option, but I think I'll mainly be using the blade crest oath sword though. Although, man, I really wanted a goblin tinker so bad. I really want to reforge some of my weapons. I figured that my next step was to just search for the meteorite that just fell. So I walked to the right side of the world and kept walking and kept walking and kept walking. Okay, I guess it's not on the right side. I guess I'll go left. So I kept walking and kept walking and kept walking. And I'm starting to think, where the hell is this goddamn meteor?
Where the hell is this meteor?
But I didn't panic. I've had this situation happen before. Surely it just landed on one of the sky islands. I got a gravitation potion and explored the islands again, and I kept searching and still no meteor. You want to know where the goddamn meteor was? I literally found it by accident. With my gravitation potion, as I was going up to the right side of the world, I saw it for just half a second. The meteorite was on top of the tree.
There's a goddamn meteor. Of course I couldn't find it, bros.
Bruh! How am I supposed to see that? What a gigantic waste of time. And to make things even worse, I didn't even need meteorite. It's useless for melee. Apart from being able to craft phase blades, which, I mean, the swords I had was just better. But, whatever. On hour 5, I decided to build more houses. And by build, I mean use insta houses to spawn them in. I suppose I did put a little effort into decorating, so there's that. Anyways, with still no goblin army, I decided to fight the hive mind, the next boss in my progression. And with a homing sword like the blade crest oath sword, it made this fight super easy. And once you get adrenaline, it's basically free. And in no time, with the amazing boss music in the background, it died to my fiery hand.
Game over.
That's another relic to add to my collection. I did get this accessory, which I considered putting on, but I would rather keep something like my necklace on, since it's only useful when I'm under 75% HP, which in pre-hard mode, I'm confident in my dodging skills. The one melee weapon I could craft though is the Perfect Dark, which isn't homing, but it definitely does more damage, so it's an instant add to my collection. There's also this one accessory I wanted to get, but in order to get it, I needed to fight the perforators, and honestly, I had no idea how to fight it since my world had corruption. I also found the drunken dude, which means I'm able to do the old man one's army now, or however you call it, so I'll definitely do that later. I figured maybe I could fight Perforator if I go into that weird Crimson Cloud Island, so I went up there. And actually, going up there reminded me that I could now craft Aerialite, since I've killed Hardmode, which completely crossed my mind. So I mined that up for later. But I was just focused on killing the Perforator for now, and seriously, how the hell do I fight this guy? I know it's possible, but how do I do it? I realized that I was just able to buy the Perforator's bag from a mod that I had called the Operator. But holy but Jesus, that's expensive! Inflation be hitting everything. I guess this is my only way, so I needed to farm some money. I figured the easiest way is to just spam kill Crabulon, since he is an easy kill. He drops like 30 gold. So after bullying him, I finally had enough money to buy the bag, and I got what I wanted, the Bloody Worm Tooth. 10% increased damage, yeah boy! By the way, in case you're wondering how in the world I know what to get, I'm literally just following the class setup wiki page most of the time and using my own judgment. I don't just blindly follow it, since I do use some common sense here and there, and I pick and choose, since it just gives me a good general idea of what I can get. And thanks to getting the materials from the bag, I was literally just able to craft the spawner of the perforators, and while I was going to the Crimson Biome to spawn it in, I also grabbed the rest of the materials I needed to craft Aerialite, since for some reason it needs random stuff like a sky bill and some plate blocks, which is just so annoying. And I went ahead and I crafted Aerialite, which is awesome since it gives pretty good mobility for these upcoming boss fights, and I could actually craft my first set of proper wings, Skyline wings. Back in my day, there were no pre-hard mode wings, okay? And when they were added, it was locked after Skeletron, so I feel a little spoiled here. I also crafted the Windblade, but to be honest, it's a little underwhelming, and for the gimmick of it pulling enemies in, it wasn't enough for me to use it. Now, it was time to kill the boss for real, and I spawned it in, and quickly got adrenaline and just destroyed it. And from the bag, I got a Vein Burster? Calamity Mod, you need to change the name of this thing because I'm pretty sure that's the nickname my girlfriend calls me. If you know, you know. And it's been so long that I almost forgot. But how in the world have I not gotten a goblin army yet? Bro, it's a 1 in 3 chance, okay? Every night, 33%. Hello? Am I the most unluckiest Terraria player? While waiting, I decided to try out the old one man's army event. And at first it went well. I mean, I was killing them, but melee makes it a little difficult. And I did get overwhelmed and I just got wrecked. At least if melee, I need stronger weapons to come back and do it again. Hour 6 and 6 hours of no goblin army. It's time to unlock the next stage of big progression. Let's do the dungeon at the abyss. But before that, I have to kill its keeper, and that is Skeletron. So I made an arena and spawned him in. Now this boss is definitely the most challenging by far, but definitely not challenging if you know what I mean. And I got adrenaline really quickly, and after cosplaying Yoru for Valorant, I smashed up the skull emoji with one final adrenaline charge. By the way, in case you were not aware, here's a cool tip. If you have the AlchemistNPC mod, this guy actually sells a potion that can TP you to many spots, such as the dungeon, and it's a quick and easy way to get over there without having to walk. And I explored the dungeon. I just wanted 2 things from here. A Murmasa... Oh, it was literally my first chest. Okay, well, sick. Now all I need is the shadow key and I can get the hell out of here. Oh, there it is. Oh, and the cobalt shield too? I did explore a little more, but the dungeon really just fills up your inventory, huh? Honestly, it'd be sick if someone created a mod where if you choose a class from the very start of the game, it disables the drop from every other class in the game, and you can only get melee related drops. What do you guys think? So that way, I could stop getting magic weapons when I'm literally only melee. Another thing I got was a cobalt shield, which could be crafted into an obsidian shield, which is awesome since no knockback, which I would be able to craft right now if I had a goblin tinker, but I have no goblin army. We don't have a goblin tinker yet, bro. However, though, I was finally able to craft a DPS meter with some wires, and I can finally see the damage I'm doing. Nice. And I almost forgot, but now I'm able to get the counter scarf from the clothier, and I swiftly replaced that with my shield of Cthulhu. Everyone, get your swimming gear because it's time to go swimming, and by swimming, I mean explore the depths of the abyss because it's now unlocked to us. I was just general looting, but I mainly wanted the ball of Fogu, which I swear is the best pre-hardmode weapon since it's strong and has good homing on it. And after finding literally everything but the weapon I needed, I finally got my last chest right as I was about to die. What a clutch. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking. Now it was time to fight the slime god, but before that, I needed to expand the base and make room for some new NPCs. And oops, I accidentally moved my face cam to the top left. Please do ignore it. It was time to fight slime god. All right, slime god, very important fight here. Lock in. It should be pretty easy though. Slime god's not like too difficult or anything. I just can't believe we haven't had a goblin army yet. I don't know what's up with that. This fight could be stressful, but as long as you keep moving in one direction, you'll be fine. And well, this is probably the longest boss fight I've had yet. It was just me running around and spamming left click, but eventually I whittled the HP down in this fight and killed my first god in this playthrough. Yes, that's right, slime god. He's literally a god. It's right there in the name. I feel like he should be a little harder. I don't know, just me. But slime god is a really important fight because it gives you many new weapons and static gel armor, which is pretty cool. All right, then you static gel armor. You also get the gel pack, which gives you more adrenaline mode damage, so hell yeah. So a new weapon that was unlocked to me is the fractured arc, which I will most definitely craft. I'ma be honest though, I think the fractured arc is kind of mid, or at the very least underwhelming. But anyways, I also wanted to craft the Knight's Edge, but I needed more jungle spores since I was missing the blade of grass. Not the grass blade, but the blade of grass. And oh my god, let me tell you, the Knight's Edge is awesome. I also wanted to craft the gel sword to try it out, but I ran out of materials, so I fought the slime god again. And well, the Geltic blade certainly lives up to its name. That's it! Enough was enough! The goblin army was just not gonna spawn, so I put matters into my own hands. I sat down and waited for the goblin scout to spawn in so I could craft a spawner manually. And I sat there for literally 20 minutes and 0 goblins spawned in, so I gave up. I was like, whatever, I don't need it anyways, and I went straight to building my bridge to fight the wall of flesh. And I killed the serpent that spawned in, and it dropped the old lord's claymore, which I was pretty surprised by. I figured this length was solid, so I stopped for now. But I really wanted a goblin tinker bad, so I just tried the old one's army again to kill some time, and this time I went a little better. And with the help of the new old lord's claymore and the Geltic blade, it sliced her. And who am I kidding? This is impossible with melee. And I was just staring at that summon, that goddamn goblin army summon. I tried my luck again for a goblin scout to spawn in, and oh my god, it's there! It finally spawned in. And with that, I was now able to buy a spawner for goblin scouts, and in no time I had enough materials to craft a goblin standard, which finally means I can get a goblin army. I'm not gonna lie, the Gelatin Blade is just so much better than their faction art. And once I killed the goblin army, I immediately tried to look for the goblin tinker. It took a hot second, but eventually I found him tied up deep in the caverns. And now I was finally able to upgrade everything. All of my accessories, namely Terra Spark boots and the obsidian shield, and we're forging everything to menacing. If you guys don't know, I love damage, and honestly for Calamity Mod, you need the most damage you can possibly get. So it's better to just reforge every accessory to menacing to squeeze out that extra damage. And this would be my final setup going into the Wall of Flesh. Honestly, pretty solid. And yes, I have WingSlot mod. What are you gonna do, sue me? Finally, I have all the tools I need. And when I farmed Slime God for more money, I even hit 1k DPS, which in pre-hard mode is pretty damn good. Eventually, I was finally ready to take on the Wall of Flesh and turn my world into hard mode. So I grabbed my voodoo doll, and I was really hoping that my Wall of Flesh would summon to my left since I built the track on my right. And oh my god, why did he spawn to my right? Bruh. Okay, I guess my entire bridge is useless now, but I didn't panic. The fight was much harder now since I needed to mine my way through some buildings, which caused me to take lots of damage. Well, as you expected, I was cooked. Stop!
Bro, it's just like I'm trying to switch to my pickaxe, and then it just keeps hitting my sword.
And so I tried again. Surely I learned my lesson this time and spawned a main on the left side. Yep, classic. I'm so smart. This time though, it was a bit easier since I already mined some of the buildings, but I died once again. No, dude. Bro, what? I'm so lost. All right, surely this time I spotted him on the correct side and find him as attendant. And never mind, I'm just stupid, I guess. The Gelatin Blade is awesome though. It feels like it was made for this boss. It splits it into 3, which allows it to hit all eyes at once, which is super satisfying. Anyways, 3rd time's the charm, and since I already mined the entirety of the buildings, it was a really easy and simple boss fight, and I took very minimal damage. Oh, okay, looks like I won this. GG's. Oh my god. Freaking finally! So what's the point of building the arena? Oh my god, it didn't even work! And just like that, the Wall of Flesh is defeated, and my world is now in hard mode, and now there is a lot to do. Because I just killed the Wall of Flesh, it dropped a demon heart, which means I get a permanent extra accessory. And usually I just put in whatever emblem is the class I currently run, but this time around, I didn't get the melee emblem. I only got the rogue emblem, so I fought it again, the actual way, and it seems like I've learned my lesson. And now, when I open this bag, I should get a melee emblem. I got rogue, bruh. Huh? What do you mean I got another rogue emblem? Oh, no worries. I'll just fight it again. And this time, I'll get it for sure. Please. What? A sorcerer emblem. Are we being serious, Terraria? Okay, surely it's fine. 3rd time's the charm, right? Or something like that.
Game over.
Please, just give me the goddamn thing, bro. Please. Summoner. Okay, 4 times now. This is getting a little ridiculous, but I'm not worried yet. Surely this time, I can't be that unlucky. Okay, come on, surely, guys. Surely I'll have it. I'm worried. Okay, 5 times now. Really? Calamity Mod? Terraria? Who do I even blame here? Okay, but surely this next one, I'll get a melee emblem. Okay, surely this time. Six times I beat the Wall of Flesh and I didn't get a melee emblem. Surely this time. Bro! 7 times, no melee emblem. I'm genuinely starting to think that my world is glitched. It has to be. I'm not even gonna say it. Doesn't matter anyway. Ah! In one universe, do I get such bad luck that I didn't get a melee emblem in 8 Wall of Flesh kills? At this point, I'm gonna start cursing it. Watch, guys, as I don't get the melee emblem in this attempt. So you're telling me that didn't work either? 9 kills! I'm legit tired of this. How unlucky can I get in this goddamn playthrough? First, it was the goblin army not spawning, and now this? Does it ever end? Okay, what if I just buy the bag instead of killing him? Maybe this time I'll get a melee emblem, and yes! Finally, thank you! Yes! That was so worth it. I don't care if I wasted money on that. In no universe, it should take 10 bags to get the melee emblem. This is ridiculous. So I reforged it to menacing. I got that fat 19% damage boost, which I will definitely take. Getting it to hard mode is always a little bit overwhelming, but the next step was to get new armors, which, if you're unaware, Calamity has made a change where the hardmode ores each drop after killing one mech boss. Though the only one that's available to me was Cobalt or Palladium. But even before that, broke all the demon altars to get free souls of knights. And I don't know when they made that change, but breaking them used to spawn a ton of wraiths. But I was surprised when there was nothing. But now that we're in hard mode, the baby NPC moved in and he sells bundles of potions, and it just makes carrying potions so much more convenient. Regardless, I went ahead and mined the new ores that spawned in. I wanted Palladium armors, which I figured was better than Cobalt for its healing mechanic. And soon enough, I had 131 bars, which I might have overmined, to be honest. But look at that, full Palladium armor, and I get easy life regen. I knew I could also get hard mode wings up to this point, but there are wings that are way better than any early hard mode wings that for some reason is never mentioned in any class setup wiki that I think is straight up overpowered, but I'll get to that later. For now, I decided to still rock my Skyline wings. I also had my eye on this accessory right here, the Berserker's Glove, and I knew I would have it on for a while, so it was worth farming for it. I needed a drop from a Crimson or Corruption Mimic, so I farmed around a little bit and waited for one to spawn. The thing is that after 10 minutes, I kind of got edged by one because I saw the boss health bar show up, but I never saw it on my screen and it just despawned, which was really sad. Eventually though, after 30 more minutes of waiting, one finally spawned and I swiftly ended its career. I didn't get the drop I wanted though, but the Chain of Guillotines is definitely a really good, solid melee weapon. I also got an Earthen Pike, which I will say, why is this thing not on the class setup wiki page? I'm telling you, this is an incredibly underrated melee weapon for early hard mode and it's really easy to farm for. Like, Dao Pao? Really? Who's gonna use this? Don't get too mad at me though, it's just my opinion, but I had to farm for the Crimson Mimic a few more times for the spotter, and I was able to get the drop I wanted, the Flesh Knuckles. Nice. Then we put Menacing on this bad boy. Are you serious? So yeah, it turns out I'm broke. That's the cost of buying a wall of flesh bag, I guess. And for some reason, it was right here that my recording decided to freeze. It didn't corrupt, but it froze for some reason, and I had no idea why. But thank God it decided here to narrate everything I did, because if I did it, then honestly, I'd have no idea what I'm doing right here. There's a couple things I want. I want to craft an Ankh Shield. So now that I have a Berserker's Glove, I also wanted to get the Ankh Shield. And since I've been farming Corruption for like 30 minutes for the Mimic, I had a lot of materials already, and soon enough, I crafted up the Ankh Shield. And as you can see here, oh wait, I forgot, you can't see. Well, as you can hear here, I was farming Crabula for money. Wait, I remember now why the recording was frozen here. That's right. I was in a call with my girlfriend and she wanted to see my Terraria gameplay, so I was screen sharing here, and I guess that's why my recording froze. Ah yes, my girlfriend cursed my OBS, truly the most powerful debuff. Next, I decided I wanted to over prepare for everything, so I went to the jungle and started farming life crystals to get max HP. I know, you don't have to do this, but I like being super overpowered and ready for the next boss fight. And what the hell, my game just updated its frame. My recording finally came back, and as you can see, I'm just farming life fruits. And I also randomly killed Queen Bee to get it checked off my boss checklist. And soon enough, I had max life fruits, which means I'm ready to fight my first hard mode boss. I decided I wanted to try to fix my failures for pre-hard mode and try my hands again at the old one army. And finally, this time with hard mode weapons, I was able to do it. I got some post wall of flesh bags, which dropped a storm saber, which is pretty solid since it has homing projectiles. I needed to get the materials for the cryo key to spawn Cryogen, which is a very important boss fight. Why? Well, remember what I said about the pre-hard mode wings? Cryogen has a drop called the Soul of Cryogen, which, despite its looks, is actually wings and can make you fly, but also gives you a, get this, 7% increase to all damage. What the hell? Calamity Mod? Why aren't these wings in the class setup guide? Everyone should just skip pre-hard mode wings entirely and just get these. It's literally free damage. Sorry, I yapped on a little bit too much here, but I finally have the materials for the cryo key, bought some potion combinations, and started my fight with Cryogen. I do have a unique strategy here though, and it's basically just farming adrenaline and rage. When you spawn Cryogen, it starts off extremely slow with a shield, but it's very easy to dodge, and it won't go to the next phase until you break the barrier. So if you just wait around a little bit, your adrenaline and rage meter will fill up, and you can start the fight with an insane damage boost. Look at that, the fight just started and he's literally at 50% HP. It's broken. Anyways, using my Storm Saber to damage it, I just circled it around, and in no time, my first hard mode boss was defeated. In fact, Cryogen was so easy that I decided to just do it again, because why not? I still have my buffs up, and look at my wall of relics that are building up. Look at this beauty, the Soul of Cryogen. Give me that 7% more damage. I'm hungry for more damage. And I also got this avalanche from Cryogen, and little did I know that this would be the single most broken weapon I have ever used. Seriously, I had no idea the potential this thing had. How is it broken, you may ask? Well, you're about to see very soon, alongside with me, because I was in for a wild surprise. Anyways, it's about time I fight my first mechanical boss, which is a destroyer, since, let's be honest here, is literally free compared to these two. So I crafted the spawner and decided to fight in my sand arena. At first, I decided to use my Storm Saver because it spawned a lot of projectiles, but then I realized I should probably be using a true melee weapon here since it's a super close range fight. So I swapped over to my true melee weapon, the Avalanche, and little did I know the damage I was about to do. But I'll just let my reaction speak for itself. What? Dude, this weapon is insane!
Game over.
I wish I got my face cam reaction on that. Yeah, 10k DPS, 10,000. Bro, this is early hard mode. 10k DPS is literally post Moonlord numbers. In what universe am I getting this? Wow, I have no words. That is so funny. Oh my god. Dude, I'm just gonna kill it again. I mean, dude, that fight just went by way too fast. I genuinely had no idea the Avalanche was this strong. I just got it by chance and used it by chance since it was my only option, and this weapon needs to get nerfed. Honestly, that felt like cheating, but I'm just gonna cope and say it was my amazing game sense. Now that I killed my first mechanical boss, a new armor set was unlocked to me. Mithril and Orichalcum. And of course, I went for Orichalcum for higher damage. I also farmed some materials in hell to craft the Brimstone Sword, which looked pretty promising. Oh, that's why. Okay, I mean, that does a ton of damage. I also farmed sharks at the beach to craft seafood, because it's time to fight Aquatic Scourge for my next boss fight. I also remember that I can now craft the Cosmolite to easily change the time of day. Super convenient. Although I heard this is gonna get nerfed in the next update, so that's kinda sad. From farming the sharks though, I did get a pirate map, and I decided it might as well do the pirate invasion. And after robbing them of all of their gold, I went ahead and crafted the seafood, which is a spawner for Aquatic Scourge, and built out the arena and spawned it in. Just kidding, wrong biome. Okay, don't lie, we've all made this mistake. Anyways, I started fighting with my Brimstone Sword, but then I remembered that this is a worm boss, and if it's similar to the Destroyer, what if I tried using the Avalanche again? And oh my god, it's so beautiful. Seriously, this is the most broken weapon in the entire game. Although I got a little too excited with this weapon because I accidentally died when he had 1 HP left.
Round over.
No matter though, I mean, this weapon is so incredibly broken, I just did it again and I killed it for real this time. There's a cool item I can get from it, which is the Submarine Shocker, which is a damn good true melee weapon. Funnily enough though, not as good as the Avalanche. Anyways, now it was time to kill my next boss fight, which is the twins. And this is honestly a really boring fight, so I have nothing to say here. Now we're gonna make real progress, because now Adamantite and Titanium is open. And well, back in my day, Titanium was the go-to goat. Terraria heavily nerfed Titanium though, which is really sad, and they basically killed the armor. And now Adamantite is just way better. And soon enough, I was decked out in Adamantite gear. And since I did recently kill the Aquatic Scourge, the next tier of Acid Rain has been unlocked. So I went ahead and farmed it. I also started to mine for cryonic ore. Not that I really needed it right now, but I knew I needed it for later, so I might as well grab it. However, I did see that I was able to craft the Dark Light Greatsword, and honestly, it was kinda goated. Now that I have everything, it's time I finally make it to the mid game, and time to kill Skeleton Prime. But honestly, there's nothing prime about him, since all you have to do to dodge this guy is just go in circles like you're a Looney Tune. Skeleton Prime, more like Skeletron past his prime, because this bat expired 2 updates ago. And now that I killed my 3rd mech boss, I now had access to hollowed bars, and I figured I needed a lot of it, specifically so I could craft more upgrades to my magic storage with them, so I just started farming mechanical bosses. And I don't know why I said that in plural, because all I really did was bully the poor destroyer with my ridiculously overpowered avalanche. I'm basically a war criminal to mechanical life forms at this point. I had so many bars, it's funny. But I did craft all the hollowed upgrades for my magic storage, and now I have more than enough space for a very long time. I saw that flame wings are now unlocked to me because I have a mithril anvil, and it gives a 5% increased melee damage and crit strike chance, so it's definitely better than my solo cryogen, and I wanted to farm for that. I put that on a back burner for now, and I started mining up some chlorophyte. I also got enough extra life crystals to craft my first permanent health upgrade, the Blood Orange, which grants me a permanent 25 health. I also upgraded my Berserker's Glove to a mechanical glove and crafted the Bloody Worm Scarf, which would be the single one accessory that I would wear for the longest time. I mean, you just can't beat those stats. I also quickly defeated the Braid of Cthulhu so I could craft the Amalgam, which is another top tier accessory for me. I kind of wanted to clear out my boss checklist to get some random stuff out of the way, and up next was the Torch God. And I'm not gonna lie, embarrassingly, I almost died during this event. But yeah, honestly, I hate how this is on the boss checklist. I think this is so boring. I crafted the True Knight's Edge and used it to quickly farm up random bosses that I had skipped, like the Deer Clops, Brimstone Elemental, and the Queen Slime. Finally, I was finished with all of my upgrades, and with the True Knight's Edge, I fought Calamitous, which, compared to Supreme Calamitous, this boss is a literal joke. Actually, pretty much every boss up to this point has been extremely easy, with virtually zero struggle for me. In fact, Calamitous is so easy that right after I killed him, I spawned him in again, because why not? Now that I've killed Calamitous, I've now unlocked Brimlash, which is a pretty solid option for right now. And now it's finally time to fight Plantera, to further my progress in this game. And looking back, editing this footage, I've realized I've made a great mistake. Most people know by now that Calamity now spawns in this giant section in the forest dedicated to fighting bosses like Plantera, except I haven't played Calamity in like 5 years, so I didn't know this, and well, I kind of wasted my time mining out a big portion of the jungle for Plantera. I know, I'm stupid, but regardless, I was pretty proud of my makeshift arena here for Plantera. And I spawned Plantera in, and for once, the boss was at least not free. I had to actually work on this one, and I was like a second away from Adrenaline here before I got hit, which was really sad. But with the Brimlash and getting Adrenaline one more time, this fight was basically over. And my wall of relics is starting to look extremely shiny. So with living shards, yeah, I could get a Terra Blade, which is, yeah, kind of what we want. So much stuff to do, man. And now that I have living shards, I can now craft a Terra Blade amongst many other weapons. But it's always so overwhelming on what to do after a big progression boss, because now the dungeon is unlocked. I got living shards, Phantoplasm, and new events. It's just so much. I just wanted to break it down little by little, and I figured I'd start with my weapons. I set my eyes for the Terra Blade. Before that though, I went ahead and grabbed some Perennial Ore, and even got myself a Fire Feather so I could get my upgraded wing. I needed 2 broken hero swords, and so it's time I go to the temple to get a Sun Tablet. And the Eclipse is as boring as always, and destroyed some Mothras. I'm gonna bring this up later again, but god damn, I hate these events in Terraria. I just think they're such a waste of time, but it just really bothers me for some reason. But in no time, I got myself 2 broken hero swords. One of the weapons I was also able to get was the Arc of the Ancients, which I thought was pretty decent. But when I crafted the Terra Blade, I realized that it's just so much better than the Arc of Ancients. Don't get me wrong, the Arc of the Ancients looks cool, but it's just not as practical as the Terra Blade, and I would choose it 10 out of 10 times. But I did farm the dungeon for some new items like Phantoplasm, and now I was able to craft the Asgard's Valor, which is an upgraded Ankh Shield. So we definitely take those. I also got myself some Angel Treads, and finally, I also now have access to the Charm of Absolute Luck, which I mean is so goated because now I don't have to get ripped off of reforging some of my items, which should be the last bit of upgrades that is available to me. Up next was the Great Sand Shark in a sandstorm minigame thing, and to be honest, it's a really underwhelming boss fight, but credit to Calamity, I think it's a great idea for a boss. The Great White Sand Shark drops a scale, which allows you to craft this. But I'm not gonna lie, if I were to craft it, I'd replace it with my warrior emblem, and to be honest, I would much rather have the increased damage than my increased penetration. And I could very well be dumb here. I'm not sure if the increased penetration will end up being more damage or not. I genuinely have no idea. So my bet is this is the wrong call to make. Finally, after a big wave of progression, we can now start fighting bosses again. And up next on the chopping block is Leviathan. And oh my god, I'm either the best player in the entire game, or this boss is extremely easy, because when I say that this is the easiest fight of all of them, I'm not kidding. I do want to get the community from this boss. Yeah, I need to kill it a couple times.
Unless I got really lucky.
Yeah, this boss is fairly important because it drops one of my favorite accessories of all time, the community, which scales as you progress in the game, and it gives you so many stat boosts, and I just think it's such a great item. One problem, it's a 1 out of 10 chance to drop from the Leviathan, so I need to get my grind up. But back to what I was saying when I said this boss is easy, because on my first fight of this boss, I literally only got hit like once. I got Adrenaline twice in a row, and it was just dead so fast. No, it's about that's the first time I think I got hit this round. This is crazy. Come on, give me the community, baby. No community, of course not. But I'm playing the boss background music in the background, and it's not an understatement when I say that the boss music for this boss is fire. It's probably my favorite track under Garrett. But unfortunately, I didn't get the community, so I had to fight it again. And I'm not kidding when I say that I literally no-hit Leviathan on my second attempt. And watch my beautiful gameplay in the background, just dodging every projectile. I just did no-hit! I just did a no-hit boss fight. I'm actually nasty, bro. The community, yes! Oh! I only had to do it twice. That's my reward. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty damn lucky considering my luck with the wall of flesh. And now I have this absolutely legendary accessory under my belt with next to zero effort. Go ahead and reforge this. This thing is gonna get better as we go. And if things can't get any better, it dropped a Green Tide, which is an amazing true melee weapon. Honestly, I really like the Terrorblade over the Arc of the Ancients. That's just me though. But now it's time to explore the Abyss. So, I think there's some stuff that I need to get. You heard me. So I crafted up the Abyssal Diving Gear and went straight down. I can't buy Scoria just yet. However, there was one weapon I was looking for, and that is the Abyss Blade. And in order to craft it, I just needed one specific item, which only drops from the Viper Fish for some reason. And it took forever, but I eventually got it. A Death Crusher, which can be turned into the Abyss Blade. Alright, buddy. Holy! And I'm not gonna lie, this weapon is sick. It's pretty unique, and it hits the ground and it turns into homing projectiles. It gets an A in my books. And so at hour 15, I finally remembered that I was able to craft a Reaver armor with the perennial ore I just mined earlier and crafted it up. Because by this point, I definitely should get off of adamantite. But I equipped it and something was off. I was doing much less damage than before. And that's when I realized that this set isn't meant for damage. It's meant for people with skill issues. And it's meant for people who need the defense because they can't dodge. And thankfully though, I'm a Giga Chad and I prefer my damage over survivability. So I swapped back to adamantite. And I spent the entirety of hour 15 working on my base. What? I know, it's crazy. I realized that I had enough content to actually turn this into a video. So I decided I would spice up my base by making a giant castle around it. So I added 2 watchtowers on both sides and put some walls up. I know it ain't much, but it's home. Shout out Luke the Notable. Alright, enough of boring content. It's time to fight my next boss. And that is Astrop Auroris. And this boss is certainly interesting to say the least. I think this boss could be challenging if you're really bad at the game because this boss is really just dashing once he jumps and just dodging the projectiles, which I guess when I put it like that, I can kind of describe every boss in this game. However, I did get the Nebulash from this fight, which is an incredibly underrated weapon. This is another weapon I think should be added into the Calamity class setup guide because holy cow, this weapon does so much damage. But anyways, now it's time to fight the Golem because there's nothing else I can do up to this point. I built a quick arena and started his fight. And holy cow, the Abyss Blade sure did work. This is the first fight though so far in the entire video that was at least somewhat challenging, where my HP got down quite a bit and I had to put in a little focus on dodging. But with its defeat, I now have a Pixel, which annoyingly means back to the Abyss I go, because I can now mine Scoria ore in the Abyss. But hold on, I now reached a problem. I've run out of space to place my relics, so I'm gonna start putting them on this top platform instead. And look at it, man, it's just so pretty. It's almost as pretty as my girlfriend, but she doesn't drop relics yet. Anyways, I plucked up some Scoria ore, and with that, I'm able to get life alloys, which then allow me to craft a miracle fruit. See what I did there? And finally, an upgrade to my armor, hydrothermic armor, which I will be using up to Moonlord. I also got a couple upgrades like the destroyer emblem, which I swapped with my melee emblem, and got a fire gauntlet, which is just another upgrade to my accessories. And oh my god, I love hammers. And when I saw this paladin's hammer, I really wanted it. So I quickly went to the dungeon to kill some paladins, and when I got the hammer, I crafted its upgrade, and oh my god, it's just so peak. I just started hammering. This is such a unique weapon, I love it. And the explosion it creates goes straight to where your cursor is. I decided to get the Pumpkin Moon and Frost Moon out of the way, which I would usually hate doing these events, but my god, hammering made these events so fun for me, which allowed me to pass the time. Nothing brings out my inner caveman like a hammer that explodes. I don't know what about it's so fun, but I was motivated to kill things, and I revamped my old one's army arena and funded it to make it a little easier for me to kill Betsy. But I am melee after all, so it was kind of impossible to kill all of them, so unfortunately, Betsy has to wait. There was one final event I had to do now, and that is the Martian event. So I went up to space, got racially profiled, and started the event. They saw me in orbit and said, yep, that's gotta be an intruder. Like, bro, I'm literally from Earth. Tell me why, though, I had way more trouble fighting these UFOs than literally any other boss up to this point. And speaking of bosses, I'm done with these events, and it's time to slap Duke Fishrod up. And I know a lot of people struggle with this fight, but I'm not one of them, so there's no worries here. Really, I don't know what people struggle with. It's not a hard fight. You just dash the opposite way that he comes in, and in no time, he was GG'd. I mainly wanted the Flareon, which was actually a pretty damn solid weapon, and it's like the big brother to the ball Malafogu. So I had to fight Duke Fishron again. Thank God he's pretty easy though, and second time's the charm, but I had it. And as a bonus, I also got the Brighty Baird, which, hey, that's pretty good. This time with my new weapons, I tried my luck at Betsy once again. Surely this time with the Brighty Baird and the Flareon, I was able to kill it. I bet you thought that it was a lead up to another joke, but no, actually I did kill Betsy pretty easily. And now we reached late mid-game, which means it's time to fight everyone's worst boss, the Plaguebringer. And I remember back in the day, I used to watch Chippy's Couch Calamity series like 8 years ago, and oh my god, he literally sucked at this fight so much.
Oh, there's some serious deep... Oh my god. Right, okay. End of today's episode, guys. We'll do that tomorrow.
He spent like an entire episode to try to kill this guy, but thankfully I'm actually good at the game, so I didn't struggle that much. But this is an honestly genuinely difficult fight. Where did Queen Bee come from? And I hate to say it, but I actually did die in this fight. Not because of some stupid bug or misclick, but just a skill issue. No! He has 1,000 health, man. I got it though, it's a possible fight. Okay, I need to remove that giant middle thing, bro. It's so annoying. Yeah, that big island in the middle gave me a lot of problems, so I decided to just mine it out and gave me some more wiggle room. And now I got used to its attack pattern. I was able to just dodge it a few more times and successfully overcame the Goliath. Oh my god, the clutch! Bro, I wasn't even, dude, I was just paying attention to the heal timer. I wasn't even paying attention to his health. I didn't know I was gonna win that fight. Oh, why? Dude, genuinely? Every boss is free in this game up to this point. I mean, I gotta give Calamity credit. I genuinely think the Plaguebringer is the start of actual difficult boss fights because everything before this might as well be free. So I killed Mothra and crafted the Exalted Oath Blade, and it made a run for my hammer's money. It was also pretty damn solid. Now with these upgrades, we're almost ready to start fighting the Moon Lord. We're already here. I kind of feel like I'm speed running. However, if this was an actual speed run, I would have reset 40 times already. Fun fact, when I played Terraria for the first time, my first world took like 40 in-game hours to kill Moon Lord. Anyways, I had to kill the Empress of Light, and there was nothing in it for me. I just had to get it checked off. Except there's just one small problem. When I killed the Wall of Flesh, for some reason, my world didn't spawn in with a hollowed biome. And you think I'm joking, but I'm dead serious. Look, here's a screenshot. If you don't know, every Terraria world, when it enters hard mode, it generates a V. One side there's corruption, and the other is hollow. Except here's my V. There's corruption, and there's the half of hollow. Like, what the hell? The jungle literally ate up my hollowed biome. And you can even see here that the water's purple, so it's supposed to be hollow, but it's not. So I bought some seeds from the Dryad and went to work creating this biome. But while I was still working on my hollowed biome, I accidentally spawned in the Empress of Light, and it literally jump scared me. This is a new boss added by Vanilla 1.4, and you know what? It's unique, I'll give it that. But it's not anything too crazy, and I was able to bring it down. And the next and final boss I have to take down before the Looted Cultist is the Ravager. So I crafted the spawner, and I was ready for the fight. I knew this guy was tanky as hell, so I made sure I was fully ready before I went for it. Here we go. I'm just gonna waste no time. I'm just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna try to use every weapon and see what's the better one. I decided to use the Exalted Oath Blade since its incredibly high range allows it to hit literally every body part at the same time. And when I hit Adrenaline, I peaked at 20k DPS, which is bonkers. Yeah, this weapon is clearly the best one for this. I mean, it just hits everything. It just collapses. It hits. This is goated. Nice. That wasn't too bad. But yeah, this boss is cool because it gives a bunch of materials. But I've been doing a good job at collecting everything, so I think we've been chilling. And honestly, this boss is kind of useless to me because I farm every material in this game because I hate going back to buy for things. So I don't really need anything from this boss fight. Increases max HP by 25%. I mean, the blood pack sounds like a good idea. It used to have this crazy nerf. They must have buffed it where it was like you lose damage or something, like you half your damage. I did get though a blood pact, which I put in my vanity slot in case I needed it for safety, in case a boss is really hard. But come on, I'm never trading survivability for damage. You're watching the wrong channel. It's about time we fight the lunatic cultists and start the process of fighting Moon Lord. So I confidently removed the cultists and started the fight. Let's just freaking do this thing, man. The lunatic cultist though is more of a mini boss than an actual fight because I don't think I've ever seen anyone die to this fight before. This boss is generally so easy. It's just going in circles, man, and just abusing your dodges, dude. If you just abuse dodges, like using your shield, it's just too easy, man. It really is.
Game over.
And there it is. All right, I don't know what to do now. I'm kind of scared. Now I can get meld constructs, which is nice, but more importantly, I'm now able to get the absorber, which I heavily considered, but decided against it. I started with the solar pillar so I could get my melee gear up and running. And after destroying it and getting its solar fragments, I got 2 new weapons, the Daybreak and the Solar Eruption. The Daybreak ended up being a hot pile of mid, and the Solar Eruption is actually kind of good. I also saw that I was able to craft the Grand Guardian, which I really wanted because I was lacking a true melee weapon. But I mean, just look at it. Does it not look so cool? Anyways, to craft it, I needed a nebula fragment, so I did that and ended up crafting the blade. I didn't expect much from this weapon, but oh my god, dude, this weapon is gigantic! But for some reason, in the boss checklist, it recommends finding Ostrom Deus in the middle of your ancestor event, so that's what I'm doing here. And I needed a Titan Heart, which drops from the Atlas, which I'm not kidding, took forever to spawn. But eventually, I got a Titan Heart and summoned him. And I gotta tell you, this has to be the coolest spawning animation out of any boss. But yeah, the true melee weapon is very broken against this guy because look how massive it is. I was literally able to hit every body part at the same time, getting up to 20,000 DPS. Genuinely, the Grand Guardian is such a fun weapon to use. This boss fight though was actually pretty fun, and hey, you know what? Calamity is starting to get pretty fun now. I say that now, but give me 2 more bosses and I'll be crying at the corner. And now that this guy was yeeted, I'm now able to mine Astral Ore, which would be useful if I was Summoner, but I'm not, so yeah. I also crafted the Biome Blade, which is cool to its credit, but really underwhelming compared to the other options I had. And I cleaned up the next pillar and decided to call it there for the day because I was getting tired. So when I came back, I only had 1 pillar left. And then it was time to kill Moonlord. So I killed the last pillar and waited for Moonlord to spawn. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous, but I was prepared nonetheless. When Moonlord spawned in, I wanted to know if I was able to use the Grand Guardian since it's so big, but I could have easily just true meleeed Moonlord. However, oh, I probably should get a run on Discord. Why did I not think of that? Uh-oh, am I cooked? I can't believe I actually forgot all this time, but I never got a run at Discord, which would make this boss fight infinitely times easier. But I did try to kill it without it though, but I was kind of washed and it made dodging some of these lasers kind of difficult. Okay, I need a run at Discord. I figured out that if you move the wizard to the hollow biome, he actually sells you a run at Discord for the cheap price of 45 gold. And so now I was ready to end the Moonlord and go into post Moonlord once and for all. So I crafted up the spawner and came in with a different strategy. This time, I used my Flareon and using its homing projectiles, it allowed me to purely focus on dodging and paying attention to the top eye when it shoots its lasers. And when it did, I just dodged away. But once you kill all 3 eyes and you have to shoot its heart, the fight becomes so much easier and you can just take it home from there. And surprisingly, I actually started no-hitting Moonlord for like a solid 40 seconds and I even got Adrenaline not once but twice in a row, which is beautiful Terraria gameplay. Massive rage, massive dodge. Oh my god, I'm the Terraria ghost. Wait, I'm no-hitting. Wow, I'm genuinely the GOAT. No, I'm like, I adrenaline again. I'm the GOAT. Oh my god, I just went like 60 seconds unhit. Wait, I'm not gonna lie, the Moonlord is a fight I always struggle with because it's genuinely like one of the more difficult bosses to dodge because it's just so much. And I own that. I'm proud of myself. That's not bad. All right, Moonlord down. That's right. We're now in Calamity Endgame, and it's time to tackle the real difficulty. And I find it kind of funny how Moonlord just drops literally every weapon possible, so you don't have to refind him again. Anyways, now I have a Celestial Onion, which gives me another accessory to add on. And these post-Moonlord weapons really are no joke. Yeah, I mean, immediately, like these, post-Moonlord weapons, just the power scaling gets insane. And on top of that, I'm now able to craft the Arc of the Elements, which this time around is actually pretty good compared to the other versions of it. That is a ridiculous amount of damage. I didn't really know what to put in my new accessory slot, so for now I just slotted in a melee emblem and fought the Moonlord a couple more times because I needed more Luminite for Solar Flare armor, which with this new Arc of the Elements, it made it so much easier. Alright, and now we can craft the full Solar Flare armor. Oh, I need more Solar Fragments. Though, because of course I do. Oh, please don't tell me this is the most expensive thing of all time. 15 gold per solar fragment. Dude, I'm just gonna fight Moonlord again. I'm not doing that. Like this game is trying to scam me. Everything's like, what are these price hikes? Hello? This economy is wild work. This game really thinks I'm Terraria's Elon Musk with how much the operator wants to charge me for that. Thankfully, I'm too cheap for that, so I just did the solar pillar again. And I had all I need to craft my first big boy armor set, Solar Flare. And oh yeah, baby! I'm just decked out with that fire gear. See what I did there? And I also crafted solar wings, which I thought was a good choice since it gave 7% increased damage and a 3% increased crit chance. But then I immediately trashed it because I realized I was not able to get the celestial tracers, which comes with built-in wings, so these wings basically were useless. Oh, we got wings now, so I didn't even need to craft these. I'm dead. That's really funny. Yeah, the power scaling really starts now because you think 15,000 DPS is a lot? Wait until like, I don't know, 3 hours from now, and you'll see the numbers we get to. I still had a free accessory slot though, and I just decided to craft the absorber because, well, I'll just let past me explain it. I mean, I might as well just craft this to replace my warrior emblem because I don't necessarily need that. However, I was missing literally one item, and it was a giant shell, which only gets sold by the skeleton merchant. So I spent literally 30 minutes looking for this goddamn skeleton merchant, and eventually I found him chilling by some lava. Finally! Dude, what? He's always there when you don't need him, but the moment you actually want to buy something, he's vacationing in lava. The next thing I had my eye on was the Celestial Shiv, and you know what? It's fast, it's homing, and you can't complain about that. And so, that's it for upgrades for me at the moment, and it's time to prepare my fight with Providence. I farmed some unholy essence from profane creatures in hell, and crafted the profane shard to fight some chicken nuggets. I also finished up the hollowed biome, and it starts to look pretty clean. My strat for this fight is always to focus the healer, and the fight becomes easier afterwards, and with the homing from the Celestial Shiv, it was a quick and easy fight. With the kill of that boss, I now get a Profane Core, which is the spawner for Providence. However, before that, I wanted to fight Dragon Foley, so I did that. But it's just really another Duke Fish Rod, so it was no problem for me. I was able to craft this weapon, called the Gilded Proboscis, which was mid at best, so I decided against using it. And now it's time to fight Providence. However, I really messed up big time here. You see, I decided to take a break at this point, and when I came back, I forgot to click start recording, which means that, yeah, I killed Providence without recording by complete accident. So I might have made the grave mistake of realizing that I just killed Providence, the hell version, without recording. I took a break and I came back and I forgot to start recording. And I only realized afterwards that I wasn't recording the entire time. If you guys don't know, Providence has two phases, one in hell and one in hollows, and it's pretty well known that the hell version is easier than the hollow version, so it only took me 2 tries to kill it, but don't worry, I do end up killing Providence on camera later in the hollow version. So I equipped the Elysian Aegis, which is just so goated, and look at everything it does for you. One of the drops you can get from Providence is the Holy Collider, which is a true melee weapon, and oh my god! What is up with these true melee weapons? I mean, dude, look at how big the sword gets. That's ridiculous. Oh my god. Anyways, it's time to get my second post-Moonlord armor set, and that's Terracod, which is now unlocked to us thanks to killing Providence. And Terracod armor just gives you so much damage, it's not even funny. And with my new favorite weapon and Terracod armor, I was ready to re-fight Providence. And it definitely wasn't easy, but Providence is always a fun fight. Does he enrage outside of the hollow? I remember he used to do that. I don't know if he does it. If he does that still. Oh my god, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, before I got Terracod armor, the hits I was taking was like 200 hits, and now it's like so easy. Terracod armor is actually the GOAT. I'm not gonna lie, this is the GOAT armor. It's worth it. Oh, holy cow, what a dodge. I'm only getting hit for 50? Bro, that's nothing. That's basically tickling me. No, I didn't have heal. Oh, that's so dumb, bro. Yeah, Terracod armor was a huge help, and I managed to take down Providence once again. Now I can craft the Galactus blade, which was pretty cool. But I'm not gonna lie, it takes so much effort to track the enemy, rather than just using something that's homing, that I think other options are just better than the Galactus blade. Like, if they want me to use this weapon, then they should buff it, because this damage, it's just not worth it. Never forget, guys, to get your permanent health upgrades as you progress through Calamity. Trust me, you're gonna need it. There's gonna come a time where you'll be 1 HP, and you'll be thankful you took these upgrades. I also saw that I was able to craft the Terratomir, which definitely interested me because I knew back in the day this was the weapon. So let's see if it still holds up to its height. Now apparently the Terratomir is also kind of goated, and I'm very curious. Remember back in the day, this thing used to be the best thing of... I think it's just the fact that it's homing, it's automatically better. Well, okay, so we need one homing weapon and one like overall weapon, and then one true melee. So Elemental Shiv, you're the homing weapon, you're Gonzo. The Ravager was now buffed as well with new accessories and a new drop that gives you a lot of ores, so I figured I might as well kill him for that and test out my new weapons. And you know what? I take everything back when I said about the Galactus Blade, because dude, this thing is cracked. Well, now it's time to kill the next couple of bosses and get ready for DOG. So I went to the dungeon to fight the Ceaseless Void, and I was aware that there was a dedicated area to fight the Ceaseless Void, but for some reason I just couldn't find it. It's like it didn't spawn in, so I decided to just YOLO and just spawn it in a random big and wide area. And well, to be honest, at the start, it went really well. I was able to hit literally everything with my Galactus Blade and the big AoE of my Holy Collider. This boss is very weird though, because it has like these phases where you have to destroy all the balls and then dodge and then destroy more balls and then dodge again. But since I decided to fight it in this extremely small arena, when I made it to the last phase, it was almost impossible to dodge everything without getting hit. So I went back and mined out some of the problem areas, but can I talk about how much I freaking hate this boss, dude? I mean, every time I get hit by something random, it just feels so quirky. Like, I can't be the only one that hates this boss. But yeah, I also died again at its final animation, which sucks. So I went back and mined some more, and finally this time I was able to dodge everything correctly, and with one super clutch dodge at the end, he was finished. Seriously, that dodge was clutch. I would have died. God, I hate this boss so much. Bro, this boss is so bad. This was just a progression boss, but it did unlock one weapon, which is the Mirror Blade. But honestly, it's too niche for me to use, so no thanks. Next up is the Stormweaver. Another quirky boss, but this time it's not so bad. And using the Holy Collider, it just makes this fight so easy. And when I got Adrenaline, I managed to hit 6-digit DPS for the very first time. I'm sorry, I hit 117k damage. True melee is broken, bro. Like, I don't know. I see people videos like, oh, I'll do the true melee only run. Bro, true melee only is like free. Bro, I could kill every boss with just this weapon. Next up is Cygnus. And I also messed up here because I accidentally misclicked the spawner and I didn't spawn him in. So I ended up dying because I kept running into buildings trying to dodge. This time though, I spawned him in the proper arena and it was now much easier to fight since I have a lot of space. This boss is really just run right simulator, bro. I'm just holding D and I'm going up and down. And GG's, buddy. Sit down. And now that all three of the mini bosses are defeated, it's time to fight the actual dungeon boss, Poltergast. And after farming some souls for a while, he naturally spawned in. He really is, though, just a super buffed Plantera. But god damn! Maybe it was because my arena was kind of small, but man, this sure was a stressful fight. Why are there two of them? Holy cow. This is intense. It's so freaking terrified, bro. Oh, he teleported on my screen. How nice. Oh, disabuse dashing. Just dash it up. And eventually I whittled it down all the way to 0. Oh, thank God. Oh. Jesus Christ, man, Poltergast is such a stressful boss fight, man. It really is, dude. I really do use dodging at invisible frames as a crutch. Wait, what am I saying? That's not a crutch, it's a lifestyle. And now it's time to gear up for the Devourer of God. And I'm definitely not looking forward to it because I've heard horror stories about this fight. Like people genuinely breaking their computers because of this boss fight. And if I disappear to this segment, you know why. Anyways, Poltergast does drop an Ecto Heart, which increases a bunch of stuff. So hell yeah, W. And it also dropped a Cloaked Affliction, which after considering it, I decided to put it on because those stats are unbeatable. I crafted the Terror Blade, which I know is a viable weapon for DOG, and it was pretty good. Even though it feels like I just got Terragon armor, it's now time to upgrade to Blood Flare armor. Thanks to Blood Flare cores, then I got Killing Ravager. And oh my lord, this set is amazing. It's just a solid damage boost, and I'll let past me explain how crazy this set is. So all I gotta go is go true melee for 15 times. And then I got an insane buff? Oh my, dude. Let's check out some other weapons I could craft though, like Death's Ascension. What's that? Yeah, I mean, we need a homing weapon, right? Because if we're lazy to just not shoot. And tell me why that does more damage already. I know that the training dummy test isn't the best test in the world, but come on. I mean, the Death's Ascension just owns the Terror Blade in every way possible. I could have also crafted the Galileo Galileus, but Oh, hell no, I ain't going down to the abyss again. It was time to do the acid rain event to spawn in the old Duke, and while I was doing it, my game kind of crashed because I walked too right into the world, which really sucks. Honestly, I think the tier 3 event should get buffed because, I mean, the tier 4 event, it's just so easy. Like, yeah, this acid rain event is just not... It's just not a challenge at all. I hate to say it. Why does this boss even exist? I feel like, I don't know, this whole like acid raid thing, such a waste of time, man. What's the point of this boss? That's how I feel, at least. I don't know. Because it's like, by this stage of the game, it's just so, it's like not even a challenge. It really isn't. Look at that. I'm gonna no-hit this guy. He's just so easy. Doing 50k damage with adrenaline. Wrecking this guy. I literally haven't taken a single point of damage. I really think this weapon should get nerfed, though. I'm not gonna lie, the Death Ascension is a little broken, dude. Oh boy. And we still got the abyss weapons to go all the way down into the final level of the abyss. I'm very curious to see what it has in store for me. Oh wow, he's already dead. Okay. Well, I was yapping, I killed him. Well, the old Duke really wasn't a challenge though, and he was swiftly defeated. So I decided to go to the abyss again. I know I literally said that I wasn't going to, but in my defense, I saw a shiny weapon and it was only attainable at the end of the abyss. I got the abyssal diving suit and made my way down there. And after killing some mobs, I got it. The Void's Edge. Now it was finally time to fight DOG. And usually I always make an arena like a platform alongside the entire world, but this time around I decided to just YOLO and do a fight with zero arena because why not? And I was pleasantly surprised by how well I did. And after fighting it for a while, I managed to get adrenaline and even made it to the second phase first try. Which I mean, I remember times I was struggling on only the first phase. And shockingly, I was actually doing really well with zero pre-made arena for this boss. And in the end, I did struggle a little bit, but I did manage to get it down all the way to the final 10%. Wait, I got it down to 9% without an arena? Okay, here's the thing. I've always built an arena for this boss, but I don't think I need one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of cooking. I figured if I was able to get it down to 9%, then I could surely beat it without an arena, so I tried again. I brought it down to its second phase and managed to get adrenaline when he was at 50% HP, which really speed ran this fight. And all I had to do now is focus on dodging the laser. But unfortunately, I got impatient and focused on killing him instead of dodging on the end, which ended up choking the fight.
Dude, genuinely, I'm throwing. I'm actually throwing, bro. I'm choking. I literally haven't killed.
I locked in on my third attempt. I learned from my mistakes. Apart from the wall of flesh, I still see rogue emblems in my dreams. When I brought him down to 10% HP again, and I was basically full health, I knew I won.
Yes! Okay, it just took me 3 tries. I might genuinely beat a Terraria gun.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty damn impressed with myself. I remember my first ever Calamity playthrough. It took me, no joke, 5 hours to beat DOG. And look at me now, doing it with no arena.
Just 3 tries. 3 tries and no arena. I mean, is that aura?
And so the defeat of DOG unlocks so much progression now. I have CosmoLite, which I can craft new weapons, and the events are also super buffed. I got 3 melee weapons to test out. The Excelsis, which never disappoints, and the Cosmic Discharge. Oh my god! What is that damage? How is this balanced? Okay, well, I guess I found my 2 new weapons I'm using. And I checked what I could craft with these new CosmoLite bars, which is nothing, because every single weapon and upgrade is locked behind Ascendant Spirit Essence, which means I have to fight the super buffed events once again in order to craft this, which sucks because everyone knows by now that I just hate these events.
It looks like I'm forced to literally do the events whether I want to or not.
Looks like I'm just doing the event, I guess. Oh, dude, I don't wanna. Honestly though, it really wasn't that bad. I speedran through the Sun, Pumpkin, and Frost Moon, and in no time, I had all the materials I needed for my upgrades. I made full Godslayer armor, which I mean, those stats are just insane. And I got this sick dash as well.
Oh, that's freaking sick.
And then I also got the Imago, which has a whole bible of information, but the only thing that I really care about is the increased damage. And then I got the Elysian Tracers, and just look at that speed. And last but not least, the Elemental Gauntlet. And my final upgrade is getting the Asgardian Aegis.
Oh wait, no.
Okay, thank god I double checked actually. The Asgardian Aegis, that's right. Or we can't. Oh, shut up, we have to fight DOG again. How much would a bag theoretically cost? Okay, I guess we're fighting DOG again. I'm dead.
You know what, dude? I'm just farming the plat. Dude, I'm not fighting this boss again, I guess.
Hey, you know what? You know, Terraria is pay to win, man, because
And just like that, I'm not ready to fight Yaren. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm already here.
And now I literally had everything I needed to fight the next big boss, Yaren. I decided to just YOLO and do the fight. No reason to stress over it, and the faster I get it over with, the better. So I crafted the egg and went to the jungle to spawn it in. And my first attempt actually went pretty solid, and I even got adrenaline a couple times. My lack of practice though eventually got to me, and I took many unnecessary hits that I just didn't need to take. Yeah, the Yaren boss fight music has to be the best boss fight music in the entire game.
Oh, dang, man. Dude, this song is so fire, man.
But I would be able to listen to it if I didn't have a skill issue because I threw so bad.
I know he has a phase 2, unless they nerfed that. I don't know.
Round over.
I could have killed Yaren my first try, but I seriously choked the fight at the very end, taking such unnecessary damage. My first attempt though going that well gave me a lot of hope. I trimmed down this giant tree in the middle so I could get caught less in it, which definitely helped in this next fight. I remember back in my day, Yaren used to be fought in 2 phases. Like you kill it once and then you get Auric Armor, then you kill it again buffed afterwards, and you get new gear and stuff, but I'm not sure when they made this change and it definitely threw me off. This time around though, my dodging skills were on point, but once again, when it was near the end, I was put in a really tough position. I was forced to take a shot from Yaren, which ended my run.
No, I was about to dodge! God damn it.
I could hear you yelling through my headphones over there, bro.
I didn't give up though. I had lots of energy and I managed to no-hit Yaren for a solid 50 seconds. And when I reached his final 15% HP, I was at max health and adrenaline. But I choked the fight once again.
Oh my god. I swear to god, I'm the jump to dash go. I mean, Terraria go. Let's get a TP again. No, I didn't dash! No!
I have such an incredibly bad habit of rushing the fight when they get low HP. Like I stop focusing on dodging as much, which kills me a lot. But with every attempt, I feel myself getting used to the attack patterns, and on the 4th pass around, I put my full focus on not getting hit. It got really intense near the end. I had low HP, but so did Yaren, and this time, I didn't want to choke like the other fights, and managed to kill him the exact second I died.
If I'm not stupid, this is winnable! Oh my god! What a clutch! Oh, yes!
This might be a hot take, but I swear Yaren might be the hardest boss fight in this entire game because I swear I struggled less on Supreme Calamitous than I do with Yaren. Regardless, he was defeated, and now I have access to one of the strongest armor sets in the game, OreExcavator. I only had 2 more bosses left, Supreme Calamitous and the Exobex, and I was motivated as ever to get this series done.
I'm telling you, Yaren is... I always struggle with Yaren.
And in the bag, I got a ton of stuff, but most importantly, I got the Dragon Rage, which might be the single greatest true melee weapon in the entire game. Just wait and see, I promise. I also got a Burning Sky, which, I'm gonna be honest, looks cooler than it actually is, but the damage is definitely underwhelming. The obvious thing to do is get Auric Tesla armor, so I went down to the mines to dig some up. And soon enough, I had the entire Auric Tesla set, and the damage boost you get from this is wild. I then got other upgrades like the Seraph Tracers, and this is my final loadout going into Supreme Calamitous. The Affliction, the Amalgam, Community, Destroyer Emblem, Elemental Globe, the Absorber, and the Celestial Tracers all reforged to menacing. And I also got an Arc of the Cosmos. Bad, this weapon is just really subpar compared to the other weapons I had available. If I wanted the most damage possible, then I just can't use this. I'll tell you what though, it definitely looks really cool. But you know what else looks cool? My Smokeless Grill. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna bring it to a boss fight. So I decided to opt out of using the Arc of the Cosmos. I know guys, this weapon is really cool looking, okay? But I don't care. I'm just here to do the most damage possible, and this just won't cut it. Then I crafted the Atarxia, which, oh my lord, this weapon is awesome. Look at how fast it shoots, and the damage, oh my god, I'm gonna start crying. I also got my final upgrade, the Dragon Fruit, which gives me another 25 max health. And just for the fun of it, I decided to see how strong I was. So I refought the Devourer of Gods again for fun, and oh my god, I'll just let my reaction speak for itself. Dude. 319 damage per second with adrenaline. Oh, that's just legitimately feels like I'm cheating. And now I was presented with the choice of doing Supreme Calamitous first or the Exobex. But since I've never seen the Exobex before, I decided to just leave that for last as a nice surprise and tackle Supreme Calamitous. So I built a Crick Arena in the sky and spawned in Escal. Oh, I forgot they changed the spread of Calamitous to this random figure. Okay, I'm not used to that. I'm dead. That's funny. This is the boss, so I was definitely a little nervous. But I forgot that in its first phase, you had to destroy these little eggs, which I almost died doing. But I managed to get adrenaline. Island and do insane damage to Calamities. And I was actually doing a really good job dodging, but when the brothers spawned in, I got absolutely destroyed on my first attempt.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, the platform is just doing more harm than good, dude.
So I fought him again, and again, almost died to the first phase. The first couple of phases are really easy to dodge, and all you have to do is just fall up and down and you will get hit. But I had to lock in when she spotted her brothers. After I killed one of them, I was left with just one. But this was my first time ever fighting this fight in a while, and I just had no idea how to dodge this boss, and I ended up almost dying again. Bro, I don't get it. How do you fight this guy?
I'm actually just praying that I dodge it, and this is what I'm gonna do.
Eventually though, I managed to get through and I tried to make it all the way to the end. I definitely wasn't expecting to kill Supreme Calamities on my second attempt, but I definitely tried my hardest and I managed to get Adrenaline, which gave me a big boost in damage. And now Calamities was at 20% HP, and I was at max HP, and I knew I had a fighting chance, and I just locked in. Did I just do it? Oh my god! There's absolutely no way I just did it. I don't think I've ever killed the Supreme Calamities boss fight that fast. Ever. I was in genuine shock. I'm now officially in late endgame, which with the defeat of Supreme Calamities, I had a ton of new weapons unlocked. I got this Violence from the boss fight, which is just a really funny weapon. The Ataraxia just does more damage, so I decided to rock with that. Enchant. Bro, what is this? I had absolutely no idea what this menu was, but what I did know that is if you put your community in there, you kind of upgrade it into like an evil community, which basically makes your rage do more damage the more you level it up, which is really cool. Finally, I can evolve my community from wholesome to evil, just like my YouTube comment section. I unfortunately can't craft Demon Chain armor until I kill the Exobex, so it was time to fight this boss. Now, I've never fought this boss before, but I have heard it's easier than Supreme Calamities and that it's like a combination of super buff and mechanical bosses, so that's nice, I guess. And to be honest, I had no idea how to spawn this boss in.
I don't know, dude. Why are Exobex the most complicated boss ever to spawn? What is this, like fully powered codebreaker? Dude, I had no idea what I'm doing.
The boss checklist says to use a fully powered codebreaker, but I had literally no idea what that meant, so I had to go to the wiki to find out. And it turns out I needed to build this machine to contact him and input schematics to the code. What I didn't know was that the schematics costed 500 power cells, which I only had 80. It costs 500. Dude, what? I have to, brother. Oh my god. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. The annoying thing was that you can't craft power cells. The only way to get them is to place down these things, which only generate one every 15 seconds, which means it's just a waiting game from here.
Okay, it's cooking up. It's not gonna take too long. I'm gonna go ahead and AFK a little bit.
I kind of wish I knew this earlier, because if I did, I would have placed out a lot in preparation, but I genuinely had no idea and I got kind of screwed over here. So I put down 9 power cell factories and I had to wait for my Temu farm workers to cook me up 500 power cells. My base looks like a crypto mining operation, but I figured 500 wasn't that bad, so I would only have to do a little bit of waiting. I got really bored while waiting though, and eventually I had enough to read my schematic. And so I read my schematic and I thought I was fine from there. And then I had to read other schematics, and poor silly old me thought that every schematic would cost 500 power cells. No, I was wrong! Because why does the next schematic have to read is 950 power cells? Oh, hell no! Are you serious, dude? That's double the amount of waiting that I had to do. I wanted to speed up the process, so I started looking for power cell factories that I haven't collected yet to help. And after that, I had nothing else, so I figured I might as well start farming the Devourer of Gods to kill time. It'd also be cool to test out my new weapons as well. And yeah, the Devourer of Gods is just so easy now. And look at my Temu factory workers in line producing for me at minimum wage. You love to see it. And for the entirety of hour 24, 25, and 26 was spent just waiting for my factory to make all the cells required. Because you won't believe this, but the last schematic cost 5,000 cells to make. Like, bro, are you serious? I'm convinced Calamity devs are just sitting somewhere laughing every time a player makes this mistake without knowing about the Exobex. But eventually I had everything to craft the final piece, which is the Aura Quantum cooling cell. And so on the next day, on hour 27, I was ready to fight the Exobex and finish off my world once and for all. And so I clicked contact on my fully powered codebreaker and this dude spawned in. He gave me 3 options to spawn one of the 3 mechanical bosses first. I decided to spawn in the worm because I figured with melee, it would be really easy. But seriously, why does it even give you the option to spawn one of them in when it just spawns in all 3 anyways? But yeah, eventually this fight just turns into the most insane bullet hell you've ever seen. It's literally all 3 bosses at once, and it gets really overwhelming really fast. Whoa! Dude, why did it move so fast, bro? What the hell? Okay, it seems like I actually need to lock in for this fight and I just do whatever. Okay, it looks like with my new weapons, I can't exactly just power my way through this fight, and I had to actually try. And so, I locked in on dodging. I think once you get used to this fight, dodging becomes pretty easy. Because if you just end up going up and down, you dodge pretty much most of the projectiles anyways. But I wasn't paying too much attention to Amazon Prime over there, and I just died to a laser cannon, which sliced my character in half. How the hell do I fight this boss, bro? Maybe I'll focus on someone else? However, I don't make the same mistake twice, and so now in future fights, I look for that laser cannon ahead of time, so I'm ready to dodge it. This time, I wanted to take a different approach as well, because it became clear to me that the biggest problem in this fight is easily Amazon Prime. So I decided to spawn him in first and kill him as fast as possible. And this time around, the fight went much smoother. No, dude. He was so close to die. Okay, I'm getting a little better every time. I genuinely think the move is just focus on spread. Yeah, I may have died, but that's also the closest I've ever gotten to killing one of the mechs, so I'm definitely making progress. And so I spawned him in again and focused on doing the most damage I possibly can. And somehow, I even managed to get adrenaline somehow. In the midst of all of these projectiles, and managed to take down a big portion of his health and took him down. And once I took down Amazon Prime, this fight got much easier. And the twins were taken down very easily as well. And all that I was literally doing was just falling and moving to the right, which dodged everything they threw at me. And eventually, it was just the mech worm left. And unexpectedly, this guy threw out every goddamn laser at once. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely pooped my pants a little. I'm sorry, what the hell was that? With the grace of God and abusing dodge mechanics, I somehow came out of that unhit. I don't know how, but I guess we take those. But this guy wasn't done. He kept on bringing out these random magic tricks like this one. Bro, this laser literally tracked me. How do I dodge this? And so, even though I was max HP, in 5 seconds, I was brought down to less than half, which was definitely scary. But the fight was almost done, and I locked it. I didn't like that at all. No! Oh my god, I thought I was dead there. Oh my god. Holy crap-a-roni, I actually genuinely clutched that. Wow. That was a fun fight, though. Supreme Calamities is definitely harder, though. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, that's it. I killed every boss Calamity has to offer. I wasn't done yet, though, because now I had access to Shadow Spec bars, which gave me Demon Shade, and many new endgame toys to play around with. I crafted the Spyglass Thanatos, and I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. I also tested out the Draconic Destruction, and dude, this weapon is just a classic. That's funny as hell. That's not even reforged. All right, there it is. Another endgame weapon. Dude, that's ridiculous. Yeah, this hammer might be my new favorite endgame weapon. And you know me, I love hammers and hammering. And now there's one thing left to do, and that is to try out the boss rush. Now, I know I could have crafted Demon Shade armor, but that meant fighting Supreme Calamities again, which I didn't really want to do that. So I figured running Auric Tesla armor for now was still okay. And so with these new weapons, I just spawned in the boss rush, which is an event where it super buffs every boss in the game, and you have to fight them all at once. And honestly, some of the damage I was doing here is just insane. 1 million damage per second is insane. 3 mil. I just got 3 mil a second. Yeah, 3 million damage a second. But unfortunately, I died to Calamities because I was too antsy and couldn't dodge his wall of projectiles. And so I tried again and managed to take him down and work through all the hard mode bosses and eventually killed Moonlord. But it was when I reached Providence that I was cooked because once again, I got antsy and I was unable to dodge the laser that he threw at me. Yikes! Bro, that's an undodgeable laser, bro. Are we being for real? I figured it would help if I end up crafting Demon Shade armor anyways, so I bought some of the Supreme Calamities bag and crafted up the final endgame armor. Oh my god, it's just so beautiful. And I got a massive boost in damage, which is awesome to see as well. And when I made it to Providence one more time, I actually did a solid job of dodging and managed to take it down. Unfortunately though, it was short-lived because when I went to Ceaseless Void, I was quickly reminded how much I hate this boss.
Because of course it's always Ceaseless Void.
I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I actually don't like this boss rush. Of course, my final memory of this mod is fighting my least favorite boss, Peak Irony. And so that was it. Calamity was done in under 30 hours. And as you can see, proof right here that I'm not lying, it says 27 right there. Thank you so much for watching this video, and definitely let me know if you want to see more content like this. Oh my god, dude, this weapon is gigantic! And the damage! Oh my god, I love damage! Oh, it's so big! Okay, maybe don't put that in. But for... Why did I say that? I'm actually freestyling. I didn't even write that in the script. I just said that. Okay, that's going in bloopers. But for some reason, the boss checklist. But I can't. Why did I say that, bro? I'm not putting that in the video. But for some reason, in the boss checklist,